we go. Okay.
Okay. Is it me now? You want to ask me a question?
Okay. So, Yvette, what led you to want to do the NeurOptimal?
Okay. I have a phobia that I wanted to, a particular phobia that I wanted to address. And actually you were the one that told me that it would be benefited by this
Mm-hmm.
NeurOptimal.
Yes.
So we started doing it for a particular reason, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually within the first few sessions, I noticed that there were other things that were also helped. My work productivity has been much better. I work, I think, more quickly. I'm able to work more comprehensively. And my work is rather complicated. What I do
Mm-hmm.
involves a lot of steps and a lot of higher cognitive reasoning, I think.
Right.
And so what would have taken me probably an entire day now takes me probably just a couple hours.
Wow. Okay. It's pretty cool.
So
What about your relationship or your interactions with, like, your supervisor? And
probably much better. I'm not so I'm not so concerned about I think anxious about my interactions with other people.
mm-hmm.
I think for example, with my work life,
Mm-hmm.
I think I basically missed a webinar, a training that we were supposed to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowingly missed a training. And in the past, this would have very much affected me. I would have been very anxious about it, very I would have felt very anxious. So instead of that, I just began to think, okay, how can I either make it up? How can I prevent this thing from happening again?
Mm-hmm.
So my thoughts about this, missed training was much more positive and proactive as
Okay.
opposed to so anxious.
Okay. Good.
And so I think this is my relationship now with my coworkers and my supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more proactive and not
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know, like if we make a mistake or something, to just be more direct,
Yeah.
work with what the situation is and not be so I don't know the word, but anxious.
Yeah.
So that has been helped with this.
Almost paralyzed, not paralyzed by anxiety, or is it? No.
No, but just thinking about it a lot, like dwelling on something that happened instead of moving past it, and then my thoughts would go that way, and I would think about my work, and instead of just being able to kind of let it go after doing the work, after doing whatever, then letting it go.
Right.
And I've noticed that my work doesn't come with me with strings so much anymore.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm much more able to have my home life and my work life be distinct, and I'm not so anxious and so taking it with me. And I think this has been part of it, I think.
Yeah.
I've been very freed by this process, I think. And then, some years ago now, probably 5 years ago, I lost my grandmother, my dear grandmother, and I very much, of course, loved her very much, and she was very much a person to me, a very integral part of my life.
She actually lived with y'all.
Yes, she lived with us, and I think she raised me or was very integral in raising me from a young age, and so I felt very, she was very much a parent to me as opposed to even just a grandparent.
Yeah.
And so I was very affected by her passing away, even though she was an elderly person, 92 years old. Her death seemed very sudden to me. She died within a month of getting diagnosed with the type of cancer that she had.
Yeah.
And I just know that I wasn't really, well, I think I felt like I wasn't able to move on from her death as well as I think I probably would have thought I should have been able to.
Yeah.
You know, they say that time heals all wounds, but in this case, it was still very much affecting me. Every time I would think about her, I would almost tear up, I think, every time. So I think this has been helped by that too, you know. And so that thinking about the person just doesn't equate the same level of painful emotion. So I think others would be helped that way too. I mean,
so it's not like you think of her less. That's what I was concerned about when I did a neurofeedback after Nathan died. I don't want to forget him. It's like, it's not that I have fewer thoughts, it's that I don't have the painful emotion attached to the thought.
And actually, I think, if anything, I'm able to think about her more and remember her more because I'm not so pained by it all the time. We would kind of push it aside and not want to speak about it, because we don't want to just be, well, crippled with sadness or something. So,
so you'd recommend it for other people?
Yeah, and you know, sometimes we're kind of skeptical of doing these kind of things, like, what does this really mean? But I think it's been very beneficial and helpful to me.
And one of the ways that this is described is that it's non-linear. And I think that's played out in what your experience has been so far, because you came to get a specific thing addressed. And whether that's been addressed or not, we're not sure. Because you haven't tried to do that thing. But other things, it's like your brain wants to fix what it wants to fix. And it's not necessarily the order that we choose. And once it gets addressed, we're like, oh, yeah, that actually was a big deal, and I'm glad it got addressed.
Very big deal.
But you didn't come expecting that particular thing would be helped.
No. But I think it all plays together too. Because we're just so laden with whatever it is we're laden with. And actually, I was not sleeping well even because of my work, like having sleepwalking activities and things by my stressful work situation.
Are you sleeping better?
Much better.
Oh, good. I don't know. I don't remember you telling me. You telling me that. Okay.
You know, my work is important, and I think it is stressful work still, but.
Is that good? I think it's good.